Hi, my name is Lucas Labe. I'm USA Women's National Team Assistant Coach. Today we will discuss our basic blocking and defense concepts. Our team likes to spend a lot of time in a bunch read system, which allows us to help each other and to be great on all the attackers on the other side of the court. We have some blocking fundamentals in place. We will discuss those. And of course, number one thing is, what's our basic philosophy? Blocking tactics should be based on the probabilities of the opponent's offense. It is sometimes desirable to put our best blocker in front of their best hitter. More blockers are better than less. We think that 4 and 6 hands is much better than 2 hands. And our main philosophical approaches and our core of our philosophy is to always block the ball. Our block is the first and very important line of our defense. We will not try to funnel. We will not try to get a soft touch. We will not purposefully try to go for deflection. We will always try to block the ball based on what we see and what we know about players' tendencies on the other side. We have a few simple principles in place that help us create systems around these principles. Hitters tend to hit the ball where set takes them, based on the analysis, regardless the gender, level of the competition. That's the most common behavior of the hitters. Using the arms when blocking allows blockers to move efficiently and jump high. It's not about what you look at, it's about what you see. Great artwork is elite volleyball skill. We truly believe if we can be great in this skill, that's going to take us above any other team in the world. The ball knows angles. We like to play with angles on the other side of the net when blocking. No funneling, no soft touching, no deflection. By getting over the net every time as soon as possible, we try to take away angles from the attackers. There's a few basic blocking concepts we truly believe into. Great blocking is composed of at least these main components. Serving. To block effectively, a team has to be able to serve teams out of perfect pass. The object of serve is not to ace the opponent. Aces are bonuses, but to keep her passer from making perfect pass. Eye work. Volleyball is a motor visual game, so what you see is of utmost importance. Blockers should be taught how to exert control over their eyes. Blockers should be taught to look at the ball, look at the setter, her distribution, reading the ball, and going after the attacker. Arm and footwork, it's extremely important to us. Where blockers stand, how they stand, ready to run and jump, and how they run, we have various footwork patterns we practice. Those are vitals. We like our blockers to use their arms when they jump. Handwork, the object is to get over the net. This is much more important than jumping high. Wherever you are, get square to the net and reach over the net as soon as possible, and try not to reach sideways to the ball. Tactics are also a big part of our beliefs. Cost-benefit analysis based on trends, and we will have numerous options at our disposal how to defend. Dedicate, front, trap, read commit, and various of those combinations. USA Volleyball team will spend most of its time in a bunch read system. The basic concept behind read blocking or bunch read system is that we want to defend against the things that happen most often. Bunch read system allows us to have our pin blockers helping our middle blockers with any quick or big attack. Having 3 blockers, that would be 6 hands, or 2 blockers, that would be 4 hands, We want those where things happen fastest, and this is much better than having only two hands defending that attacker. Bunch read blocking system is a system that requires a lot of discipline, focus, and commitment. Within this system, to be a great blocker, you have to be able to answer three very important questions at any given moment during the rally. Maybe at first we try to do that consciously. We think about it, we're learning, we're trying to get better. Once we become experts at that, this process usually becomes a little bit more subconscious behavior. Question number one is, what do I see? As already mentioned above, volleyball is a motor visual game, so what you see is of utmost importance. Blockers should be taught how to have complete control over their eyes. Blockers should be taught to look at the ball. What we mean by that is we're looking at the passer, we evaluate quality of the pass. Once we evaluate quality of the pass, our heads turn or snap to the setter. Looking at the setter, when she sets the ball, allows blockers to, number one, react the fastest possible, number two, release when necessary, and number three, communicate about moving parts or moving attackers around the volleyball court. Question number two, what do I know? Based on the blocker's evaluation of the pass and read of the setter, it's time for the blockers to make some decisions using information from the game and understanding of the setter's distribution, tendencies, and patterns. How do I respond? How do I react? Once we make a great read of the setter, we need to respond to direction of the set using appropriate footwork and arm work. Continue following the ball with our eyes. We snap our head to the attacker now to see where the set is taking the attacker. Based on our game plan and seeing the ball, the blocker has to make a decision on how to block or defend the attacker. At first, we're going to talk about our bunch read positioning. What we mean by that is positioning of our front row defenders, our blockers, at the moment when the passer passes the ball. We like our middle blocker to be in the dead center of the court. We like our right front blocker a little bit further apart than left front blocker from the middle. If both blockers, right front and middle blocker, reach out, they should touch their fingers. If left front and middle blocker reach out, they should touch their elbows. This positioning allows right front blocker to be close where most of the things are happening in volleyball, that's on the left side, and also being able to defend quick attacker in her zone. Left front blocker is positioned the way that she can help a lot to middle blocker with things that happen in her zone, and they happen fast. That would be quick and big attacker. But she would be still able to react to the right front attacker. In this example, we see a good positioning by all three middle blockers as described earlier, and they all are in their spots, stopped, and start with reading the situation. Next slide or next example shows exactly the same. Blockers are in bunch read system. We call it fingers to fingers and elbows to elbows. And we can see their heads turning and reading the play. So ball, what kind of pass, setter, head snap to the setter, they read the ball and they end up having their eyes on the attacker. Next example shows about the same. Our blockers are in bunch read position, left front closer to the middle than right front. Right front blocker will help and defend this gap, potentially back row big. Middle blocker is in the dead center of the court, and left front also helping in zone with quick and big and potentially leaving for the right side attacker. Next example shows bunch read and also our left front blocker mirroring their slide attacker. So we're in bunch read positioning, our eyes are on the ball, evaluating the pass. All our heads snap, turn to the setter, reading the setter, and reacting to what they see. So this is a really good move by all three blockers, both of them reacting to the attacker and right front going play defense. We're bunch reading and reacting to what we see. We're in good starting position, in appropriate distance among each other, reading, heads are turning, middle blocker's eyes are on the setter, and reacting to what we see. In this next example, we will again see our blockers being in bunch read. Our right front is in appropriate spot, reading and just reacting to what she sees. And that was a really good move by our right front blocker. See that again. Right front blocker is going to be in good bunch read. Same with the left front blocker. We're reading, we're patient, and reacting to what we see. This next example is going to show our right front blocker, number 11, loading. That means that her level of interest to help in the middle of the court, it's less than or lower than usually. Both pin blockers, as you can see, number 15 and 11, they're loading, and we're not asking them to help too much in the middle of the court. But middle blocker is doing an amazing job just reading with arms down, keeping her eyes on the setter. Same with number 15, keeping eyes on the setter, and our right front blocker keeping eyes on the setter. Pin blockers are loading. That means their level of interest, it's more focused to the number 8 and left front attacker right here, as we can see. Let's see that again in slow motion. They're in good bunch read positioning. Both players, pin blockers, load right away. That means their weight is shifted. Arms are down. Middle blockers reading and just reacting to what she sees. This next example is going to show how our right front blocker recognizes the situation really well. It's not a great pass. Middle blocker is the one actually setting, no threat in her zone. She starts loading right away to her left front attacker. Also, meanwhile, middle blocker recognizes there is no threat down the middle of the court because the middle blocker is the one setting the ball. She drop her arms, keeps her eyes on the setter, in this case middle blocker reading the situation. Same with our left front blocker, understanding the situation and knowing that the ball, in this case, will most likely end up going to the right side of the court. They both recognize the situation and they're going to make appropriate move. Let's see this again in slow motion. What do I see? Evaluate the pass. What do I know? Team is out of the system. We drop our hands, and we're really good on Oppo number 8. In this situation, what we can see is Russia setter being pushed all the way to the right side of the court. That signals immediately to our right front blocker that there is no immediate threat from the middle blocker. She can start loading. Our middle blocker just sitting there, reading the situation, and our left front blocker being extremely disciplined at not following the pass too much and being able to help with this middle blocker if being set. Setter decides to go long distance, but because right front blocker is extremely disciplined, middle blocker reading, USA team puts up there a nice solid block, and USA gets a really good touch. This example shows very similar. We are in good bunch read. Separation between blockers is something we asked for, but as you can see, there's not a high level of interest helping around the middle. There's more reasons for that. They're running slide, so there's no need for our right front blocker to be involved into defending that as a blocker. Our left front blocker is mirroring and leaving with slide attacker. By doing that, we stand a chance to be great at defending that slide. If we're not leaving or mirroring that move, we might be in trouble. Middle blocker in this situation has a dual responsibility, helping and go block to the left side, try to make great read, and eventually help with slide. She's also responsible to be good on number 8 because we know she's a big threat from back row. Russia decides to set left side, we make great read, and sometimes we lose. This example, we can see very similar movement. We're in bunch read, our heads turn after we see where the pass is taking the setter. So we see the ball. Now we're looking at the setter, head snapped, and our left front blocker is all over the setter. Make a read, and we react. It's going to be really hard for our left front blocker to return and help once she's committed and so dedicated to defending slide. But we have middle blocker and our right front blocker making a really good move and helping with defending that big attacker. Bunch read. Within our bunch read system, we also occasionally use a read commit. We're still reading, we're trying to see the quality of the pass, we're trying to read the setter, but in this system is designed to stop quick attacker who has the potential to hurt us, or it seems like we cannot stop that player within our read system. So to accomplish that, we will have to designate defense that will stop that blocker. In this particular case, we know the pass is going to be perfect, and most likely they will set number 1 middle blocker from China. So now we're not reading beyond what we know about type of pass, quality of a pass, but we're super interested in defending and basically committing with that attacker. That's another version of how we can defend a player that it's a major threat to our defense, but we seldomly use this type of defense. We would spend probably 95% of the time in a bunch read system. This was a short introduction to our blocking and our blocking systems. In the next segment, we'll talk a little bit more about our back row defense.